Hello everyone. Before we get into today's video, I would like to take this opportunity to say an honest and heartfelt thank you to all the amazing people that have commented on my videos. What totally blew me away right from the get-go is that so many of you guys are not only returning viewers, but also busy in the comment section. And holy macro, do I love your comments. You folks inspire me so much to get behind the computer every day and tackle the next subject. Comments addressed to me are astonishing. You make me proud, but I'm equally impressed how you guys communicate with each other, motivate each other to hang in there, believe in Carney and a prosperous and strong Canada. Thank you, my friends. Thank you very much. So now let's dive right into today's subject. How the fascist gangster in the House of Horrors tries to pressure Carney not to cancel the contract of the remaining F-35 fighter jets. Well, I think every one of my viewers knows by now that political illiterate orange idiot in the House of Horrors has left America sicker, poorer, and more divided than it has ever been. The disaster president and self-proclaimed master of the art of the deal does not make any deals. He does not know how to make deals. And extortion is not a fair deal. A real deal is a deal that benefits all parties involved. For Trump, it is all about his benefit, his win. He does not care about anybody else. And how does he try to make his one-sided deals? By extorting his trade partners into an agreement. And that is exactly what the clown with his big mouth and small hands try to do again with Carney. Back in March, the previous government had already signed a contract and even paid for the first 16 of 88 F-35 fighter jets. But when our new Prime Minister Carney took office, one of his first moves was to hit pause. He ordered a full review of the purchases, and the findings from that review are due imminently, because the F-35 program itself is struggling with ongoing delays and budget overruns. Costs now exceeding original estimates by 6 billion and delivery pushed back by 5 years. And some Canadian military leaders who originally recommended the F-35s now questioning the purchases. Lieutenant General Yvan Blondin, a former Air Force general, said the purchases should no longer go forward as planned because the US has become so untrustworthy. Now the US has caught wind that Canada might be getting cold feet. Just recently, US officials strategically warned Canada of potential negative consequences if we back out of the F-35 deal, as reported here by the Ottawa Citizen. Although they were quite vague about what those consequences might actually be, it felt more like a tactical leak to apply pressure. A typical Trump move, I would say. There is a general change in sentiments among European leaders who feel that the US, especially while the orange gangster fascist resides in the House of Horrors, is no longer trustworthy. We've joined a major European defense initiative where Denmark, for instance, as reported by Defense News, chose a European air defense system over the American Patriot system, an $8 billion decision that followed diplomatic terror unleashed by the orange moron. Similarly, Portugal, selected French fighter jets over American F-35s for its NATO fleet modernization. And Canada is buying 12 submarines, either from a German-Norway consortium or from South Korea. Well, I certainly hope it's Germany. At least then I can understand the user manual. This whole submarine purchase has also some gigantic financial gains for Canada. Not only does the winning bidder must commit himself to spend a significant amount of the purchase price back in Canada, but also the manufacturing and the maintenance must be done in Canada. Made here in Canada with Canadian workers and materials, building maintenance facilities, training workers, and providing ongoing maintenance for many decades. But what about our order of fighter jets? Well, there is Saab, a European defense giant offering its Gripen fighter jets. Their pitch is incredibly compelling. If Canada chooses the Gripen, they won't just sell us planes, they build them right here in Canada, promising to establish manufacturing and R&D centers across the country, creating thousands of high-paid jobs for decades and transferring valuable intellectual property to boost Canada's aerospace sector. It's a made-in-Canada solution. So, what should we do? Follow our emotions, call Trump's bluff and say, "Fuck you, Trump. We paid for 16 F-35s and now we cancel the subsequent orders." On the other hand, let's take it a bit slower, shall we? Why? I give you a hint. Tomorrow, Mark Carney is flying to Mexico to have a chat with Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum. And one thing is for certain. Kushma will be part of that conversation. We know that even though Trump has signed Kushma back in his first term, he hates it now, because he thinks he could have gotten much more out of it, even though Kushma is really a great deal for all parties. So Trump is going to start the new Kushma negotiations any day now. And what is the power card we can take with us to the negotiation table? Well, there are a few things, but nothing is as powerful as the remaining 72 F-35 fighter jets. Trump knows if he pisses Carney off, he can say goodbye not only to a whole chunk of money, but also to some control over Canada. So let's agree to buy the F-35s? Hey, not so fast, my friends. There is a total different aspect here as well. Remember, Mark Carney promised to ramp up Canada's defense spending to a whopping 5% of GDP by 2035? That's a huge jump from the old 2% target. But here's the genius part. He votes that his massive cash injection will actually supercharge the Canadian economy, not the American. Now, to understand why this is such a big deal, we need to rewind a bit. At least half a century. Our relationship with US military spending has been a bit like a broken record. The US says, "Canada, you need to spend more on defense." And Canada, politely sipping its coffee, replies, "Nah, we are good, thank you." Why the reluctance? Well, it all comes down to where the money goes. See, the US economy has a unique relationship with its military budget. They spend more on defense than anyone else on the planet, and it acts like a giant economic stimulus package for themselves, on themselves. The defense industry is the biggest industry in the US. The US government borrows money and pumps it directly into US US-based companies like Lockheed Martin and Boeing, as an example. More spending means more jobs for Americans. So when they urged us to spend more, the unspoken footnote always has been, and buy it all from us. To bully us with, like the orange idiot always says, it's an issue of national security. For us, it means that writing a bigger check for our military was essentially a direct transfer of Canadian tax dollars to fuel the US economy. We were basically the best and most reluctant customer at the American military superstore. Unsurprisingly, this led to a decades-long stalemate. Them constantly nagging us to spend and us constantly finding creative ways to change the subject. Why would we be eager to invest in someone else's job market? But now, under Carney, Canada is finally changing its tune. We are suddenly looking at other playlists, like deals with the Europeans, and seriously considering that sweet offer from Saab. We are not just shopping for jets, we are shopping for an entire industrial strategy. The old dynamic is getting a much needed and frankly long overdue upgrade. This puts Canada in a fascinating position. That 100 billion F-35 contract is arguably our single biggest bargaining chip in our relationship with the US. But how we timing it is crucial. So what's the end game here? While many of us might instinctively prefer a deal that builds jobs at home, the government may be playing a longer game. I would say the smartest move for us Canadians is written in the gangster fascists' playbook. Remember that possibly the biggest disaster of all Trump policies, the big beautiful nightmare bill, will really kick in after the midterms. This is clearly calculated, because then it's too late for American voters. The American citizen eating dragon has left his cave and start to munch. So delay is the magic term here. And that is what, in my opinion, Mark Carney should do. Delay till after CUSMA 2026 is signed, and then cancel the fucking F-35s and sign the deal with Saab. Because Trump is wrong. It is not tariffs. Delay is the most beautiful word in the English language. So, what do you think Canada should do? Please let me know in the comments below.
We were petrified, kept thinking we could never live without you by our side. And we spent so many nights thinking how you did us wrong. Now we've banded all together. Your tariff made us strong, and so you know you're not so great. There's not a snowball's chance in hell will be your 51st state. You really need our resources for more than we need you, so now just go. Walk out the door. We do not need you. You're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who instigated these trade fights? You'll soon grow to regret it when we turn off your lights in the gutter. We will survive. As long as we can think and work, we know we'll stay alive. We have all we really need. We can live without your greed. We will survive. We will survive. There's been a change. It's time anew. We're not that fledgling little country stealing all of you. We are now a nation proud that is happy to be free. It didn't agree We will survive. We will survive. We will survive. 51st state, my fucking ass. Go on, Canada.